defenders, I think, is like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, appreciative to everybody tuned in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. It's got to be them things somewhere. Appreciate you lot tuned in. Smash the like button, comment, and subscribe now. Unpopular opinions, uncomfortable conversations, end of season edition now. These are just my thoughts. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. And I feel when you look at Arsenal, you've got to look at it delicately. As I've said before, I think if you want to bury yourself in negative land and Arsenal crumbled the league and this, that, and the third, and if you want to do the overly positive thing, where you kind of overplay the fact that we weren't expected to do this in August, fair enough. I can't tell you how to cope. I believe the truth is in the middle with both sides, and then I do think there are things to be negative about, things to be positive about. I do think it's a season that obviously has not ended in silverware, obviously has had an underwhelming end, but I do think it is one of overriding positivity, something we can build upon individually and collectively, and a season we can be proud of. We don't know what next season is going to have. We don't know how Liverpool, with being in the Europa League, how they're going to have it. Spurs with a new manager, probably, Chelsea with no Europe, expectations on Arsenal. The only guarantee you could probably say is that City, as long as they're under Pep, are still going to be up there doing what they're doing. And obviously Arsenal are going to improve and things. There's going to be a level of expectation next year. I don't quite think we're going to be largely untested in first place and then second place like this season, but who knows? We just need to take the good and make it great, take the obvious concerns and make them better, and then we should have a good football team on top of bringing in players. So I've tried to write them down. The first one, I believe we're not a good enough defensive side with or without Saliba. And what I mean by that is clearly we've improved a lot defensively. Clearly Saliba gives us a lot. I just feel Saliba's absence has highlighted the frailties in our defensive aspect. And we have got a decent amount of clean sheets, but there's also been a lack of clean sheets unnecessarily. Ultimately what led to our demise, they've been there in games that have been one-way traffic. You look at Crystal Palace at home, Brighton away, and there's several other games where we've battered teams, and there's been no need to concede. And I just feel if you was to say, what do you think of Arsenal this season? You're going to talk on the Sakas, the Martinellis, the Odegaard, all the positives. I don't think you're going to mention us as a great defensive side. And if we want to win titles, we need to be that. As I said, there are improvements and we do need to bring in new players, but there's a lot of things individually these players need to arrest, and for the manager collectively we need to arrest, whether it's individual mistakes, whether it's switching off from set pieces, whether it's on the transition. These are many things that need to improve. It go back to Man United. When you take the emotion away from the Bournemouth game, from Aston Villa and Man United at home, neither of the teams that we played in the examples I've said and ourselves have defended well enough. And I'm pretty sure, without knowing, Mikel Arteta said that. When you look past all the la-la of the Bournemouth game, we weren't good enough defensively. I'm just saying this because I love our team. There are teams below us, and don't obviously City for evident reasons, that will be able to cope with frailties. I think Saliba's absence just highlighted a lot of our issues defensively, and it's not just the defenders, it's everybody following runners, open on the transition, covering spaces, keeping headspace. Obviously mistakes happen, you do concede goals, but because I love my club, I just think they happen too frequently. And Newcastle, one of the best defensive records, if they lose one of their defenders, they'll cope a bit better. So I just think we need to improve a tenfold defensively, especially if there's a degree of expectation domestically, especially if we're going to navigate the Champions League as far as we can go and hopefully bring a domestic cup home, people. I also would say, I didn't write it down. Once again, I love Mikel Arteta. I love what he's doing, but I'm not impressed with how we performed in the competitions. Fair enough, we played Man City in the FA Cup, which of the 3 games we played against City with a rotated side at that game, that was probably where we did the best. Again, it's another Europa League game that follows a tie, better yet, that follows in Sporting, that follows Olympiacos, Villarreal. So for the gaffer, as much as I love what Mikel Arteta is doing, I feel navigating multiple competitions, I'd say when you get to the end of the year, turn of the new year, which would be 2024, and the games are coming thick and fast, I think Mikel Arteta needs to learn to rotate his players or get in some players you can trust. And I think as much as I love Zinchenko, if losing a left back is killing our build-up play, then what are we doing really? And I love Mikel Arteta. I love what he's doing. Don't get it twisted. I'm just being honest with what I believe, people. I think the mentality has improved a tenfold, but I don't think it's that of champions yet. High pressure moments, arresting form at this last tail end of the season, where it's put up or shut up, do or die, kill or die. We've let ourselves down. While I think, again, we've defended well and we've got, you know, a decent defensive record, we can go to other levels. I think we could, it sounds crazy, but I think we could score a lot more goals. I don't think we score enough. And I'm saying that, you know, Saka double figures, Martinelli double figures, Odegaard double figures, Xhaka isn't going to be there, 9, 8 goals, whatever, you know, and we've been sharing them out. I just feel we need to keep that and do it better, really, because I like the fact that the goals have been spread out. Obviously, Gabriel's popped up with a couple. We've even seen Saliba hitting it with his left peg. That needs to continue. But now that that season is done, I look at it, I don't know if anyone at our club's going to score. And I'm not saying it to criticize us. The only one I could really bet on is Saka, because you probably due a barren run, but the last 2 seasons, you've got double figures. Martinelli, first breakout season. Odegaard, first breakout season. Jesus, big up your 11 goals and 7 assists. And you were injured, but I don't know if you're a man that's going to get 20 plus as a minimum, really, which what I require. Where you look at Salah, whatever you say about Liverpool, the numbers are there. Harry Kane, whatever you say about Spurs, the numbers are there. Now, I'm not comparing the players, but you get what I'm saying, really. So if I've got concerns about how we defend, and I think we can go to another level attacking wise, you know, that's what football is. You know, I guarantee if you get in a room with Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, Arsene Wenger, Sam Allardyce, and I don't know why I said Sam Allardyce, but, you know, because he messed up with Leeds, but any other manager, and they what Wenger might say that is the most important, Jose will say is the least important to a football team. But what's the common denominator? Football is a simple game. You need to keep the balls out the back of your net. You need to score more than your opponent, really. And I think we could do better than that, really. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. And I've already said I would like another striker or a winger and things like that. Saka needs to be rotated where he can be, even though I think fans overdo it. Evidently, the man plays a lot and you don't want to burn him out. But the best players play every game, and you take out Saka, you remove his importance. We wouldn't be in his own way where we were in the table, but we would like a bit of flexibility. Where it's a more physical number 9 or a winger, I think we need reinforcements in that regards. I think there's plenty to be positive ultimately and concerned about, really and truly. So it's a mixed bag. I do think fans are overestimating Saliba's importance to the team, going back to what I said with or without Saliba. And what I mean by that is don't hear that and go, DG, what are you talking about? Saliba's fucking vital to our team. Pardon my language, smash the like button. But I can't lie to you. We shouldn't fall off a cliff because Saliba or anyone isn't there. There should be a base level of how we defend, in the same way Eddie and Ketia came in for Jesus and we did a lot better than a lot of us expected. You know, obviously we have better and greater options in an attacking sense than we do defensively, but there can't be any coincidence as to why we're better in that regards, really, and whatnot. Maybe that's a club thing. You know, how many defenders come through our academy and really go on and play in the first team, and comparisons to the centre mids, the wingers, etc., etc. I do think fans are overrating Trossard as well. And listen, out of 10, I'd give Trossard 8. I think he's a bad boy. I think he's a great player. I think he's got a lot of qualities, but I think fans are putting him at a level he's not. I think fans, while they're, you know, if you play your way into the team, and there's been times he should start, I don't think for the large part of the season he's done enough in what he's played to eclipse Saka or Martinelli. I think fans are putting a rotation option player at a level then he's not. And again, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm not criticizing Trossard. I just think Arsenal fans, we do this thing where some fans big up these players, puts them at this pedestal, and then they're the first to tear them down, like you saw towards the tail end of this season, where Partey, who's had a good season, Saka, Martinelli before he got injured and got back to it, and several players. Not a single player has been ultimate. Benjamin White has been safe from criticisms. As I said, I think Arteta needs to learn when to trust players at crucial moments. Sometimes I think he's a bit fixated. We go back to Nottingham Forest away. Yes, I know you're, you know, insistent on the inverted fullback stuff, but sometimes we might have to be a bit humble and just play Tierney in his normal role if he's still at the club. Just one example. Going back to what I said defensively, I think there's been an improved game management, but I still think there's a lack of game management if we're talking about fighting for titles and things like that. The problems have been there, really. They've been there Leeds away where we was fighting for our lives. They were there against Brighton, against Man United, against Aston Villa away several times this season, and ultimately that led to our demise. So that's for the manager and the players to arrest. As I said, unpopular opinions. Obviously, this man can do no wrong, but for me, Saka can do no wrong. No one can say nothing. I don't care. Saka plays every minute that he's available. Obviously, rest, rotation, all of these things, but Saka can do no wrong. You know, that man has carried this club on his back. you know, really and truly. Martinelli can do no wrong to me. Smith Rowe needs more minutes. I don't care what no one tells me. Jesus, there's concerns, but he's a bad boy footballer, a gem of a footballer. I'm happy to have him. As I said, unpopular opinions, really. That's just me. I do think Jesus needs to show he can bag in that, you know, 20 plus goals, as I've just alluded to. I think we've improved in big games, but still not to the level of required. Yes, you know, we've done well in big games. You know, even games we haven't, you know, we take a point at Anfield. We've taken 6 points off Spurs and Chelsea. We've taken 3 points off United. We've done well in big games, but as much as I feel there's big games and high pressure moments we've showed bottle, there's been times we showed a lack of. It's another season, unfortunately, where we've gone to Old Trafford and we were better in recent years. I mean, better than in recent years, but ultimately we let ourselves down at Old Trafford. You know, you look at the grounds that Arsenal struggle at. Thank God St Mary's isn't a thing for next year, but St Mary's didn't pick up 3 points. Goodison Park, one of our worst performances of the season, didn't pick up 3 points. Anfield didn't pick up 3 points after being ahead, really and truly. And I've just alluded to Old Trafford. Now there's City as well, goes without saying. So there's that. I personally, I'm not saying all of the signings, but I feel if we don't do the bulk of the following, if we don't sign 2 centre mids, a right back, a left back, if Tini leaves, asterisk, a right-sided centre back, potentially a winger or another physical forward, I think it will be more of the same this season, really, if I'm completely honest. I would also say for Arteta, you know, football is about the loving of your fellow players and stuff. And you can get away with it. But football, especially the Premier League, especially when it gets to the business, and it's not Disneyland, you know, respectfully to Rob Holding, because as I said, I think when Rob Holding came in, he wasn't as bad as people expected. By no means was he ever the worst player on the football pitch. Yes, he did harm our system, but he weren't the worst player. And in the minutes he played and the games he played, we had enough to play a lot better. City, he was probably one of our better players away from home. That's absolute disgrace. At Liverpool, we could have done a lot better. But at the same time, Arteta, it's not Disneyland. If these guys are vital to the squad and in and around the team, let them be that. Because on the football pitch, we've moved away from that. You know, big up Holding for 2 million, FA Cup folklore, all of that stuff. But certain men are not good enough for what we need to do. There's no romance in football, really and truly. As I said, and for me as well, finally, I'd say we've made improvements, fantastic improvements. But I can't convincingly say we're at the level that where we finished in the season. The table doesn't lie. We finished second, we earned that, but it doesn't always tell the truth. And I think fans are, you know, assuming we've skipped the levels. There's certain things we need to improve. I love this football club, and I dream of a day where I could say convincingly we're going to fight for league titles. I don't know if 100% Arsenal will finish second or better in relation to City. I want us to be a team that we could say that, genuinely go into seasons and say we're going to do this. Not blind optimism and going just off last season, but actually believe in it truly and really and truly. I think we could, but I also think we could crumble at times, if I'm honest, because we are our best friends and worst enemies, as you've seen. As I said in my notes, we've made improvements, but are we at the level the league table may suggest, people? We don't know for sure we'll be fighting for a title again. Let's make sure we're a team that we can say that about. Ultimately, that's what I would say, really and truly, people. So let me know your unpopular opinions. Let me know your thoughts on anything. As I said, you know, no one's right, no one's wrong, and I'm pretty sure I've rustled a few feathers. Again, it's appreciative to have you lot tuned in. If you're not subscribed, can't imagine you're not, but slap the subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button. Turn on your notifications and all that good stuff. Follow on Twitch. Stay blessed, stay safe, have a great end to the week, and I'm out.
So you always use that active red light, defending.
I think it's like